Have you ever looked in the mirror and wondered who that stranger is staring back at you? Not the face, but the person behind it. The life you're living that doesn't feel like yours anymore. That question haunts more people than you'd think. Society calls it a midlife crisis when women hit 40, but that label misses everything important underneath. It's not about buying sports cars or chasing youth. It's about waking up from a decades-long dream that wasn't yours. For 20 years, maybe more, she built an identity around being needed. Mother, wife, caretaker, problem solver for everyone else. Each role added another layer, until the original person disappeared completely beneath them all. Then something shifts. The children grow up and need her less. The marriage runs on autopilot, conversations reduced to logistics. She looks around and realizes she's been performing a role, not living a life. The rage comes first, not the loud kind always. Sometimes it's quiet and cold. Rage at all the years spent shrinking herself, making herself smaller so everyone else could be comfortable, swallowing her needs until she forgot she had any. People around her don't understand why she's suddenly angry. To them, nothing changed. But that's exactly the problem. Nothing changed for decades. While she dissolved into their needs, they never noticed her disappearing. The invisible labor becomes visible to her suddenly. Every meal planned, every appointment remembered, every emotional crisis managed. Thousands of tiny acts that kept everyone's life running while hers stood still. Then comes the grief, deep and unexpected. She's grieving the person she might have been, the dreams she set aside, the life she told herself she'd live later, except later never came. This grief looks like chaos from outside. She's crying over nothing, acting irrational, making decisions that seem destructive. But she's not destroying anything. She's trying desperately to excavate what's left of herself before it's too late. The family feels abandoned. They're not wrong to feel that, but they don't see the decades she spent abandoning herself. Every time she said yes when she meant no, every dream deferred, every piece of herself traded for peace. What triggers the breaking point varies: an affair, a sudden hobby obsession, a dramatic career change, but these aren't causes, they're symptoms, desperate attempts to feel something real again, to remember who she was. The crisis isn't that she's leaving. The crisis is that she stayed so long while disappearing, that everyone benefited from her self-erasure, and nobody questioned it until she finally did. 40 isn't magic, but it's often when time becomes real, when the illusion of endless tomorrows shatters. She realizes with brutal clarity that this might be it, unless she acts now. The hormonal changes are real too, but they're not the villain here. They're more like the match that lights a fire that's been waiting decades to burn. The fuel was always there. People say she's being selfish, finally thinking of herself, and they say it like it's a crime, but you can't pour from an empty cup forever. Eventually the cup cracks. The truth is, she's not going crazy. She's going sane, finally seeing clearly after decades of fog. The world just calls clarity crazy when it disrupts comfortable arrangements. Some marriages survive this awakening, the ones where there's still mutual respect underneath, where both people are willing to meet someone new because she is someone new now. But some relationships were only held together by her accommodation, her endless flexibility. When she stops bending, the structure collapses, not because she broke it, because it was already broken. The children often feel betrayed. Their stable mother became unpredictable, but stability built on self-suppression isn't real stability. It's a time bomb. She was just the one brave enough to defuse it. What she needs isn't judgment. It's space to remember who she is, to try on different versions of herself, to make mistakes and learn what joy feels like when it's not stolen between obligations. Not every woman over 40 has this crisis. Some manage to keep themselves alive throughout the years. They negotiated boundaries, maintained their identity. They're the ones who make it look easy. It wasn't. The women who break aren't weak. They're the ones who gave everything until there was nothing left. Their breakdown is actually a breakthrough, a refusal to keep pretending everything's fine when it isn't. If you're watching this and seeing yourself, know this: it's not too late. The life you want is still possible, but it requires the courage to disappoint people who got comfortable with your self-sacrifice. If you're watching this trying to understand someone else, try this. Ask her who she was before all the roles. Ask what dreams she deferred. Listen without defending. You might meet someone you never knew. The stranger in the mirror isn't a stranger. She's the person who was there all along, buried under years of everyone else's needs, finally demanding to be seen, finally choosing herself, even if it's messy, even if it hurts.